Welcome to Diving Deep today, where we get into design and creativity and how they work. We have a very important guest today.
Thank you for having me here.
Welcome, man. Welcome. So this guy, what he did is that he made a revolutionary food magazine, which completely shatters traditional norms, and it also kind of deals with like real life problems and just stuff of that matter. So let's just dive right in. So the first question I have for you is, how does your product break or use conventions?
Great question. Food magazines would conventionally use like warm colors and like for example red and orange, which really try to convey the person to look at it, like to be more focused on that. And I didn't really like that. So what I went for is I went for cooler colors like green, which it doesn't set like bright colors that you really want to look at. It just says like a color scheme that makes it look nice and calm.
Yeah,
What you're really gonna be focused on in my magazine are the pictures and really like the beauty of the food.
of course.
Although, even though I broke tradition in the color palette, I also went with other traditional design rules. For example, my magazine has a ton of gorgeous food and photography that is visually appealing and showcases the beauty of food. I also used a clean and minimalistic design to for the reader not to be too focused on everything else. They're just kind of like they're seeing everything how it is, and they're not really focused
Yeah.
on just colors, just design. They're focused on the actual main topic of it, food. Now, by doing this, it's something that they're gonna get familiar to, and they expect it to be like calm and them being able to like not have to be everywhere in the page to look for stuff.
Yeah, of course, of course. All right, so that's great. That's great. And I would like to add on a question. So, does your magazine focus on recipes, or like is it just like places that you should go eat, or like is it a mix of both? Like how?
It's kind of like a mix of both. At the start, it's more like you could say like places where you could go and enjoy the food. Now, what I had done was instead of I put pictures of the food, but instead of rating it, like if I was just someone that like a food specialist, I put really the backstory of the company and how they came to be for the reader to be really focused on that, and then to be like, oh yeah, this is a nice place to go, and they have a
Yeah.
cool backstory. So that's really like, and then at the end, I'm also going like kind of showing what foods you can make at home that are not really expensive for those people that can't afford.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Now, I would like to view it from a social aspect. So, how does your magazine represent social issues or like societies and stuff in that of that matter?
Now, really, food unites us all. No matter where you're from, you really use the same kind of food. Maybe not the same combinations, but the same ingredients from the start. Now, my magazine really encourages like new food ideas and encourages you to cook at home instead of rather than just only getting out.
Yeah.
Food is not just recipes, but it's culturally relevant, with different cuisines being my specialty. My magazine promotes cross-cultural appreciation and understanding. My magazine also addresses issues of health along with social concerns. For instance, I provide low-budget, friendly recipes for people that can't really afford just to go out there and get the most expensive
Yeah, of
ingredients.
course, of course.
Finally, my magazine depicts different social communities by uniting different communities, health, financial security, and just in general the realm of food.
Yeah.
And that's mostly it.
All right, that's great. That's great. So beautiful magazine. I mean, the people loved it. It was great. So we're gonna have a short break, and we'll be back on our next question. So welcome back to Diving Deeper, and we're gonna dive even deeper. So I just have a couple other questions for you. So the first one I have is, what's your target audience for this magazine?
I would say my target audience is more like 18 through 30 because those are really the people that like care and they have their own mode of transportation. Like if I put in my magazine, oh, you could go to this place and they have really good food. If you're if you're with your parents and you can't drive yet or have your own like mode of transportation,
Yeah,
how would you really go there and be able to test out the food? So they wouldn't really be interested in that magazine.
of course.
Now, something else is around that age, you're still like testing out stuff. You want to try out new things. So since I have a lot of places and recipes, those are all things that like people around that age group would really like to eat and would really like to see in the magazine.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, when you're in that age, like the younger people, they're not really looking to cook. I mean, they have their parents to cook for them. When you're 18, that's college. You maybe move out. That's when you got to start kind of
Mhm.
cooking for yourself. So yeah, I completely agree. So my next question is, how does your product engage with audiences?
Now, yeah, kind of getting back into that, it's more like because these people they're still trying out to do all this stuff. So by them like having this magazine now, they just find at the grocery store while they're purchasing their own groceries and see, oh, look, new recipes, new places to try out, and these recipes aren't necessarily expensive. So if you're a college student that doesn't have the money right now to just go to whatever place, there's recipes that you can make at home that are pretty cheap and they'll taste just as good.
Yeah,
Now, by engaging them in this, and also if it's the type of magazine that I have, that it's not really like people really want to see it because like younger audiences because they would be kind of not interested. Like they would just see pictures of food and that's it. But the people,
yeah,
older people would really like get into the reading of it and care about like really what's going on. They don't just go over and skim through the pages. So that's really how like they would engage into my magazine.
yeah. That's great. That's great. So, how do you think you would distribute this if it was like a real like magazine? Real made of text.
I would probably distribute it like around mostly grocery stores because those are like where you find all the food. You could maybe even walk in, get the magazine, and while you're reading through it in the store, you could find those
Yeah,
ingredients and already go home with a home cooked meal that you would really like. Or maybe you just walk in, you need to get like one thing, and you see the magazine, and you're like, oh, I've been wanting to try new places. So that's really like what I'm trying to get to them, like by my magazine being for kind of to them.
yeah. I completely agree. I think obviously groceries is the best place because the food is already there, and everyone has to go get groceries at some point. So that's definitely, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for asking these questions, and man, good job on the magazine, man. Thank you.
So here you can clearly see that I wasn't very good when I started this project. My production skills were pretty bad, especially in design. I just took like maybe two or three pictures of whatever I wanted to take a picture of, and they weren't even very good. You can see on this one the lighting is very bad. You can barely see it, and like the editing just looks really bad. On this one, you could see in the background, like you could see like a tin that shouldn't be there. This one I set it up really bad for this type of frame. Now, not only that, also the title. This is just some bold letters that I put, and the back doesn't even look like a magazine. All of this just looks like if it was a presentation, not a magazine. Now, after that, I was able to practice and do a lot of stuff, and I was able to get to this. I was able to make something that looks genuinely like a food magazine. It looks 10 times better, and like you could tell that it resembles a magazine just how by it's built. Not only that, I also got way better at my pictures and how to put them. Like I started taking way more pictures instead of just a couple. Like for example, here I would do a bunch of pictures, try to get every angle, try to get every lighting correct to see if it would just look better. Now, by doing this, I was able to, my production skills evolved considerably through continuous learning and practice. I became more proficient in design and photography. This resulted in a more polished and professional final product like this, which this has really transformed like my expertise in this, and this will give me a valuable skills for the future. Sure, seamless and efficient workflow. I rely on really online sources to get these articles for my magazine, this one and this one. But I also used Edu blogs to really post my progress on how I was working through like through each stage of my project. Now for editing and really the software, I was using Canva, which really is really user friendly for like people that have never really like tried to design in their life, and it really like lets you do a bunch of stuff like put your pictures, edit them, and lets you put pictures from other places, so you can really like be really creative with how you use Canva. I also I also use tools to enhance the quality of the image, like in Canva to make it better, like background remover to take away the bad backgrounds. You can make it better resolution, stuff like that. I use my phone and laptop extensively. My phone was crucial for taking the high quality pictures that are shown here. My laptop was essential for accessing the software and the tools I needed for to edit my photos. Now, what I had to do, I had enough space to be able to use whatever I wanted, and this was how I would run Canva. Now, because of this, I was able to bring my vision to life and design my magazine and like produced a really good final product. The integration of all these technologies allowed me to get a professional and engaging magazine by leveraging online sources, software like Canva, and my hardware devices. I was able to streamline the production process and enhance the overall quality of the project. And I'll also be able to post this video on YouTube, which would allow me to, which would allow it to reach anyone.